Hello and welcome. My name is Bianca Coop and I will be your host for today. Today's webinar, Accelerating the Future of Connectivity to Wi-Fi 6E with Qualcomm, Silex and TE Connectivity. This webinar will be recorded and available on demand for future reference. Please submit your questions using the panel on the right-hand side of your screen throughout today's presentation. As we move forward, the agenda for today is as follows. An introduction by Qualcomm and Wi-Fi 6E technology overview, an introduction from Silex and available Wi-Fi 6E products, and lastly, an introduction by TE Connectivity's TE antennas portfolio for Wi-Fi and Arrow's how to get started with a module evaluation. Now, I would like to introduce today's speakers. Today's speakers include Bruce Chen. Bruce is a staff product manager at Qualcomm and currently works on the product management side for consumer electronics. Next, we have Matthew Buckett. Matthew is the Director of Sales and Marketing at Silex Technology America. He has strong experience working and supporting customers in focus markets such as medical, IoT, industrial, and enterprise. Thirdly, we have Pooja Bradapanavar. Pooja is the IoT Business Development Manager for TE Connectivity's Data and Devices Business Unit. Her expertise lies in sensors, wireless modules, antennas, and adjacent areas. And lastly, I would like to present Brian Shea. Brian is a Technical Solutions Manager at Arrow Electronics. Brian has been with Arrow Electronics for over 16 years and is focused on customer enablement in key applications of autonomous machines, machine vision, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and AIoT. We hope that you enjoyed today's presentation, and without further ado, I invite Bruce to continue today's presentation.
Thank you, Bianca, for your introduction, and let's go through what we can bring you about Wi-Fi 6E. So, Wi-Fi 6E is a solution that can accelerate the future and also give you a better solution for Wi-Fi technology. Next page, please. So, in current situation, that's what kind of difficulty you encounter during using your Wi-Fi. That's firstly, there have more and more bandwidth requirements, giving you the requirements to use the high bandwidth application, like the video streaming, like the video conference call. By doing that, you need very high bandwidth requirements, and then you need to have a very smooth Wi-Fi connection. So you need to have not only the downlink traffic and also uplink traffic as the bidirectional data. Just doesn't like the previous use experience. And then in the meantime, they have more and more latency sensitive application. Something like the video conference call, as you always need to have a very low latency, very consistent jitter, and then you can have a good communication with your colleagues and also your customers. Next page, please. As a result, that's a Wi-Fi SIG, the special interest group, that's they try to extending the Wi-Fi 6 into 6 gigahertz. As you can see, that currently you have the issue for latency, you have the issue for the bandwidth, you have the issue for throughput. As a result, that's extending the Wi-Fi 6 into 6 gigahertz from 5.9 gigahertz to 7.1 gigahertz. That can give you 1.2 gigahertz in 6 gigahertz spectrum, which is more than double the bandwidth you have in 2.4 gig and 5 gig previously. In the meantime, 6 gigahertz traffic can give you more higher efficiency. The reason is because only Wi-Fi 6 solution can run at 6 gigahertz. In this case, that you can expect all the devices running in this band can be equivalent with the OFDMA and the MU-MIMO. As a result, there is no legacy devices just trying to struggling gets the bandwidth and also the airtime from the devices and also competing with you. In 6 gigahertz, you always have the good connection in Wi-Fi 6. As a result, that you have a very efficient connection and also have a very low latency and high throughput. For example, using QCA 2066, we can run up to 2.4 gigabit per second in UDP and 2 gigabit per second in TCP at 160 megahertz channel. That's very amazing number and give you the multiple gigabit speed and also very low latency to run your Wi-Fi connection and also have a very good user experience as a result. Next page, please. So, what area and region you can use Wi-Fi 6E at 6 gigahertz? At this moment, you can see that some important regions like US, like UK, and Korea, they already, and Brazil, they already have the certification ready and also accept you to submit your device to get the Wi-Fi 6E certification running at 6 gigahertz. As a result, it's officially running the 6 gigahertz for Wi-Fi use. In the meantime, they have more and more countries already approved the rule to run your Wi-Fi at 6 gigahertz, including the Canada, Latin America, Europe, and also some EMEA countries. That's it. As in the meantime, more and more countries, they try to consider put Wi-Fi 6E enabled for 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi use. That's the wider bandwidth means the stronger technology developing possibility you have. So each countries, they will consider this kind of new technology, 6 gigahertz, to double the bandwidth for Wi-Fi use. Next page, please. Then we can check what Qualcomm can bring to you. That's in fact, Qualcomm already introduced Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E solution as the first one to the market, and also be the first one qualified for Wi-Fi 6 6E, gets the certification and get everything done. As a result, they have more than 500 devices already launched with Qualcomm's Wi-Fi 6 and 6E solutions, and also lots of devices in pipeline to be launched. That's including the devices in mobile, the computing, tablets, and the XR, VR, and the many consumer devices like set-top box and others. Nevertheless, also we have lots of routers that we have the highest market share in routers, including the carrier, enterprise, and the retail markets. That's you can expect the best interoperability with the routers, with other devices if you adopt Qualcomm solution. In the meantime, from BT point of view, that we also support the Snapdragon sound and with lots of partners. So you can have always the BT sound with a very good quality using Snapdragon sound technology. So as a result, you can expect that Qualcomm always have the technology leadership to introduce the 2x2 plus 2x2 dBs, the dual band simultaneous. The 4K QAM ahead of the standard, already enabled in our Wi-Fi 6E solution. And in the meantime, we also announced the LE audio supports devices and the mobile phones. That's to be the first one BT 5.3 qualified solution. That's also you can enjoy this kind of advantage of the early bidirectional MIMO and of DMA. So you can see that they have more than 2 billion devices, that's already announced in the market, that's shipping in the market by end of 2021, and expecting they have 13 billions going to be in the market by 2026. So that's, you can see how strong momentum is going to happen to adapt the Wi-Fi 6E solutions. Next page, please. So in this page, you can see that in the Wi-Fi solutions considered equivalent in the mobile phone, in the computer, also the other devices and the routers. That's, we have good Wi-Fi 6E deployment in the market already. And please just consider our solution to join them using the high throughput, low latency 6 GHz channels. Next page, please. So you can see that we offer QCA 2065 solution and the QCA 2066 solution. Let's give you 3 gigabit per second peak spike rate, 600 megabit per second from 2.4 gig. In the meantime, running simultaneous at 5 or 6 gigahertz to give you another 2.4 gigabit per second throughput. And also it's over the BT 5.3 solution to be the first one qualified for this standard. And supports 2x2 plus 2x2 dual band simultaneous, 6 gigahertz band, and also FDMA and MIMO running at 8x8 sounding. And also support 1K QAM target wake time for saving the TX output power, the power consumption during the TX traffic, and also support WPA3 security. That should be the best solution in the market for Wi-Fi 6E, and also support the latest standard running the 6 gigahertz band. So that's all what I would like to discuss today for Qualcomm Wi-Fi 6E solution. And then next one, you can see Silex over the good module to be considered.
Perfect. Thanks, Bruce, for that overview of Wi-Fi 6E. I'm Matthew Bucket, Director of Sales and Marketing at Silex, and we are very excited about Wi-Fi 6E and are thrilled to be able to announce and release solutions using this technology into the marketplace today. Next. Let me first start by just giving some background on who Silex is and how we fit into this ecosystem that we are all presenting to you today. Silex has been around for just about 50 years, and we specialize in bringing high quality, robust, and reliable wireless solutions to market. We're a Qualcomm partner, and for the last 15 or more years have been bringing their wireless technology to market in the form of pre-certified modules and system-level solutions. Our tagline is, when it absolutely must connect. Many of our customers are ones that need their wireless connectivity solutions to work reliably every single time they are used. These are often mission-critical applications where if connectivity goes down, their product doesn't work, and that's a problem. To support this, we not only offer hardware-based solutions, but we back those hardware platforms up with robust software and drivers to ensure we can deliver to the expectations of our customers. Next. I'm based out of our US headquarters in Southern California, but as you can see, we have offices and a presence all over the globe, with our main headquarters in our factory located just outside of Kyoto, Japan. Next. Let me walk you through this exciting new product launch of ours, the SX-PCEAX embedded Wi-Fi 6E modules. These are some of the first embedded modules to hit the market with support of Wi-Fi 6, and the first with Wi-Fi 6E targeted at the enterprise applications space. These bring you full advantage of all that Wi-Fi 6 has to offer with the additional support of 6 gigahertz. Next. As you can see here, we are bringing to market a few different versions of this module to support varying requirements from our customers. We will offer an M.2 card form factor, a mini PCIe half-height card form factor, and a surface mount form factor. All of these solutions are built on the same QCA 2066 chipset from Qualcomm. So for customers that might be looking at adopting multiple form factors, the software is fully compatible between versions. All of these modules communicate to the host processor over a PCIe interface for Wi-Fi and a USB interface for Bluetooth. What's really important is that these modules support tri-band communication over 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz on one piece of hardware. So this is support for 802.11a, b, g, n, ac, and AX communication standards. You don't need different hardware to support 6 gigahertz. It's all tri-band on one module. And for those looking to also incorporate Bluetooth into the designs, the module also supports BT version 5.2 at the gate. Antennas connect into the module over an MHF4 connector type. And last and most importantly, these modules will be pre-certified at launch for FCC, IC, CE, and TELEC. You'll be able to support US, Canada, Europe, and Japan by leveraging our certifications and the approved antenna, which the TE team will be sharing with you shortly. We do recognize that many customers will want additional certifications beyond these countries. You know, many countries have their own set of requirements. Some require product level testing or approvals. Silex does offer certification services to our customers for this very reason. We manage the process for you of getting all of the various regulatory approvals depending on each country and their requirements. We can support in-country testing of your physical product, which we do on your behalf with our network of certified test labs. So rest assured, we have you covered as you look to take this product through additional certifications. Next. As we think of what applications would serve to benefit from Wi-Fi 6E adoption, a number come to mind. As the technology allows, and as Bruce described, applications for high throughput suit this solution extremely well. We can see applications where customers need multi-gigabit speeds for data communication being a major focus. This could be Wi-Fi infrastructure at large venues, could be data-intensive imaging applications, where you need to get data to an access point or off of the station device as quickly as possible. We also see advantages of using this technology in mission-critical applications. With 6 gigahertz support and the spectrum being widely unused today, this allows applications running on 6 gigahertz to have minimal channel interference compared to those used over 2.4 or even 5 gigahertz. The low latency characteristics of Wi-Fi 6 also lean nicely to support applications like voice or video. And we think next-gen applications and experiences involving AR or VR would also lend itself nicely to this technology. But the beauty of Wi-Fi 6E is that it is the next evolution of Wi-Fi. So any application that is running over Wi-Fi today would really be a great application for Wi-Fi 6E for the future. Even if you don't need the throughput, Wi-Fi 6E still gives you that access to 6 gigahertz as a means to minimize interference now and into the future. And on the chance you're looking to use this module in a country where 6 gigahertz is not currently supported, don't forget this module is tri-band enabled, so you still have the ability to use 2.4 and 5 gigahertz on the same hardware. And as we look to the next few years, more and more devices will continue to be deployed with Wi-Fi support. So we recommend you future-proof your designs by adding in support for 6 gigahertz today. Thanks again, and I'll pass it over to Pooja.
Thank you, Matthew. Hello, everyone. This is Pooja from TE Connectivity, and we are very excited to be a part of this launch for one of the first Wi-Fi 6E modules out there from Silex. Okay, so in the next few sections, I am going to cover an overview of TE Connectivity, who we are. I will talk about antenna solutions, how to holistically look at antennas and design and select an antenna for your design, and focus on our offering for Wi-Fi 6E in particular. Okay, TE Connectivity is a $15 billion company. We have got several products, connectors and sensors being the top few, and we play in several markets, the industrial, communications, and transportation. The antennas fall under our communications section, and this is one of the fastest growing business units within TE Connectivity. All right. When it comes to antennas, we have labs for testing and design locations all over the globe. So we have locations in the United States. We have several facilities in Europe and also in Asia. When it comes to manufacturing, our manufacturing locations are in Qingdao, China, Shenzhen, China, and Penang, Malaysia. We are also adding a new facility for our external antennas in Mexico. Apart from these manufacturing locations that TE owns, we also have a long list of PBL vendors. So if there is a need for manufacturing outside these locations, that's also something we can look at. Okay, this is the TE Connectivity IoT product ecosystem. Before I dig into antennas, I do want to focus on our entire IoT portfolio. So IoT devices focus on low power, small form factor, and reliable operation over lifetime. We have connectors that are carved out for these IoT applications and that can help with connecting the antenna to the board physically, like the RF connectors. We have memory connectors. We have connectors that can power the board, like the battery interconnects, spring fingers, etc. We have connectors that help establish interfaces like USB, modular jacks, etc. We also have connectors that will connect other boards and other wires or displays, etc. So that is the wire-to-board and board-to-board connectors. And we have board-level shielding and SIM card connectors as a part of our IoT portfolio. So focusing on the antennas, TE, as I mentioned earlier, is reputed for physical connectors, and that is for good reason. That is still our bread and butter. But antennas are essentially wireless, the devices that will connect the wireless devices. So antennas are the connectors for wireless devices. TE has been making antennas for a long time. As of 2021, we have designed, manufactured, and shipped over 1 billion antennas globally. We have over 650 patents, and it's a growing portfolio of patents. Our antennas have been designed and approved by all major cellular carriers. We have products that are cellular phones, cellular phone companies. There's wearable products with TE antennas, and also metering companies that are using TE antennas. All right, so coming to different types of antennas, antennas can be broadly classified as embedded and external antennas, or terminal mount, or DAS antennas. Within embedded antennas, there is a chip PCB antenna or PCB tab mounted antenna, depending on the way it is mounted. And then we also have, like I mentioned, the coax cables to go with it to provide flexibility, and also spring clips to connect the board or the antenna to the board, and we have board level shielding to help with minimizing interferences. All right, so why is an antenna different? And what are some of the design considerations before we look at putting an antenna in our device? So antenna connects devices wirelessly. Unlike a physical connector, the connection medium for an antenna is random, and we have less control over the various obstacles and interferences within this medium. So for best performance, it is important to consider the environment that the antenna would be placed in right from the beginning of the wireless system design. Some of the other important parameters are efficiency, which is very key for IoT devices, since low power is a key requirement. Low efficiency antennas will need higher transmit power or longer transmit intervals, which is not ideal. Frequency range and bandwidth is important to make sure the antenna is transmitting the desired signal. And gain is the ability of an antenna to radiate more or less in a given direction, and this is important depending on the design. VSWR and return losses are a function of reflection coefficient, which affects the performance negatively when it is high. So VSWR typically increases when the antenna and the radio transmission line impedance is not matched. Isolation is another important parameter, and it is required to make sure the other there is limited interferences from other materials and electromagnetic signals on the board. The SAR measures how RF energy is absorbed by human tissue and is important for certification. And similarly, TRP and TIS results are also required to make sure antenna systems that include antennas can be certified for the application. Okay, So why is a Wi-Fi 6E antenna different? So traditionally, Wi-Fi technology has been using 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz band, but the Wi-Fi 6E opens up the 6 gigahertz band, which operates from 5.9 to 7.1 gigahertz. And with this new frequency band, the Wi-Fi 6E can operate using 14 additional 80 megahertz channels or 7 additional 160 megahertz channels, depending on how it is set up. So our Wi-Fi 6E antennas are optimized for this bandwidth, improved efficiency and isolation, especially when multiple antennas are involved, because Wi-Fi 6E does enable multi-user MIMO. We also offer flexibility, design flexibility with these antennas, because they come with different end connectors and cable lengths that is ready to use without any additional tuning requirements. And we also offer customization. If there is a special connector that you would need, TE can come up with those modifications for the antenna as well. All right, so moving on, this is our actual portfolio of Wi-Fi 6E embedded antennas. The second one on the top right corner, the 2118907 is the antenna that has been qualified to be used with the Silex module. We have surface mount Wi-Fi 6E antenna. We have adhesive thin PCB, flex PCB antenna. We have adhesive PCB antennas, and we have offering 4 different cable lines and connectors. So that's our portfolio for embedded Wi-Fi 6E antennas, and it is a growing portfolio as well. In addition, to these, we also offer recommendations on how to optimally place it to get the best throughput possible. Okay. So with this, does this mean that we have everything we need to achieve a good wireless connectivity for a Wi-Fi 6E device? Maybe not. And I'll go over some of the reasons why it is not, because everything depends on the application. Take, for example, a Bluetooth Wi-Fi antenna for a USB mouse. That's a very simple design, because performance in this case is not high performance for an antenna is not a key requirement, because typically these devices will be placed close to each other. In this case, we could use any small antenna as long as it fits the enclosure. That's all is the requirement. But take, for example, a IP camera application where you're using a camera for a security application. It is required to make sure that the connectivity is maintained at all times. There is communication to the cloud almost at real time, so very low latency is required. And to enable something like that, a good performance is absolutely important, and that good performance will be achieved by using a good antenna. So you could have an identical connector for drop-in replacement, but a drop-in replacement for an embedded antenna in terms of performance is almost unheard of. You won't see it. Another consideration, another situation could be the use of multiple antennas within a device. And in that case, again, the antenna by itself could be operating really well. But once you've integrated in the device, there is a lot of other considerations that need to take place, and including your antenna company, antenna experts right from the beginning is key, especially for such designs. Okay, another thing TE can offer to our customers is customization. And one of the ways we can customize for IoT designs is LDS process. LDS technology is a manufacturing process that enables selective plating on 3-dimensional surfaces with consistency and repeatability. What this means is we can, at TE, for a custom solution, especially when space is a constraint, which is true for a lot of IoT designs, the enclosure becomes the antenna, and thus it helps with miniaturization without actually compromising on the performance, because you're essentially getting a 3D antenna in this process. So TE has has been doing this LDS antennas for an extremely long period of time. We were one of the first ones to come out with this commercially. So we have over 14 years of experience manufacturing, designing and manufacturing LDS. This can be beneficial for a lot of designs. So before we close off, I do want to highlight that at TE, we do offer RF testing capabilities. A lot of times it's not practical to have your own chambers to do this for IoT designs, especially because these would be smaller designs. So we do offer several measurements to make sure our customers are able to validate and certify their devices. All right, so with that, I'd like to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, and transferring it over to Brian.
Thank you, Pooja. My name is Brian Shea. I'm Technical Solutions Manager at Aero Electronics. Let's talk about enablement with Wi-Fi 6E and what you need to obtain to begin your evaluation. Next slide, please. So first, you'll need a supported microprocessor development system. You will require a Wi-Fi 6E module. You will require some antennas. And then you'll require all the software and user guide getting started information, including a host development PC to get started. So let's talk about each one of these items in turn. Next slide, please. So out of the box, there's 3 supported microprocessor development systems. Shown here is the NVIDIA Jetson AGX Orin developer kit that was just recently released and is now shipping. Also supported or can be supported are the other Jetson kits. If you already have one of these, we can work with those as well. From the NXP side, you can use the NXP I.MX 8M Quad Evaluation Kit. The part number is shown here. Or a third-party device from Boundary Devices, the I.MX 8M Mini Single Board Computer. Also the part number shown here. Next slide, please. Now, which Wi-Fi 6E module do you require? If you're using an NVIDIA Jetson developer kit, including the AGX Orin developer kit we just talked about, or the NXP I.MX 8M evaluation kit, you're going to need the M.2 version of this card, of the Wi-Fi 6E module from Silex. And the part number is shown there. The -SP represents the sample pack, and that's intended for low volume evaluation purposes. So you want to make sure you order the sample pack. If you're using the Boundary Devices I.MX single board computer, you want to use the mini PCIe card half size. Again, this is available in a sample pack intended for low volume evaluation. Next slide. Included with the sample packs, and this is important, is you get the antennas that Pooja talked about that are pre-certified for use with the Silex Wi-Fi 6E modules. This is a triple band antenna with a 100mm cable length, MHF4 connector, and it has adhesive backing to simplify mounting within your evaluation system. Next slide, please. And then finally, you'll want all the information that's required to get everything up and running. So Silex has a evaluation page specifically for this Wi-Fi 6E module and each one of the development systems that we talked about. It includes a user guide specific for that evaluation system and an OS image to program your SD card for that particular evaluation system. It also provides you access to Silex technical support. I've provided a link at the bottom here, URL at the bottom to find that information on the Silex website. And with that, that's what you need to get started with your evaluation system, and I'll turn it back over to Bianca.
Thank you. And that does conclude the presentation portion for today's webinar. I'd like to thank our speakers for coming today and for everyone on this call for joining. We hope that this presentation was insightful for you. If you have any questions, please visit us at the websites presented to you on the screen in front of you, and we will be happy to help you. We would like to thank you again for your time and wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you and take care.